Hi, Rich Carrubba for bowlingball.com. Youth bowling's the future of the game. I wrote a nice editorial article, and you've seen it because you didn't find this video unless you saw the article first. The YouTube videos are located right below our articles at Bowlversity. We do a lot of different articles on different subjects, but I wanted to talk a little bit about youth bowling, the future of the game. It's no secret that the membership of bowling in the USBC, the United States Bowling Congress, has dropped from 9 to 10 million bowlers down to about 2 million bowlers. There's a lot of reasons for it, but because of that, there's been too much pressure put on USBC with not enough resources to promote the sport. So what happens now is the sport has to be promoted essentially by the manufacturers or about industry promotion entities. Regarding the youth bowling, let's face it, the kids are the future of the game. The more kids we can get in from 6 to 12 years old in the junior leagues, and the more kids from 13 to 17 in the high school programs and junior league programs, and then the more kids from 18 to say 22 in collegiate programs or into the adult programs or both, the better for the future of the sport. And the way to get the kids interested is to show them why bowling makes sense and what things we can do to get the kids off the streets. So the proprietors really are the core of this whole thing. They are the main ingredient. The proprietors have worked with USBC. Now they have formed a joint organization because USBC does not have the resources to fully promote youth bowling like they have in the past. And that's not to say they don't have the junior gold tournament opportunities for kids to compete in, or that they don't provide awards for kids that produce honor scores through junior league programs. But the most important component to promote youth bowling is the bowling proprietors themselves. Now, the bowling proprietors, it's their place of business. That's where everybody has to gather to bowl. So, every kid doesn't play basketball or baseball or football or soccer. Some kids might find bowling something that they can enjoy doing. And the social aspect of it, where they can relate with kids their own age in a controlled environment where they're safe, is of vital interest to communities where there's a problem with kids in the streets, where there's a problem with gangs. So what we need to do is we can't solely ask the proprietors to rely on you as volunteers or me as volunteers. The proprietors have to help themselves. It is their place of business. I personally think it's a little bit selfish for all the proprietors to rely on strictly volunteers without creating incentive programs or compensation programs for those adults who work hard to help promote junior bowling, youth bowling, and help it sustain and help the kids get exposed to a great sport of bowling, to not only the league plays, the social aspect of it, to the rock and bowl, to the glow-in-the-dark bowling, that type of thing, but as well as to the competitive aspect of it. So the kids will want to stay in the game through leagues and into adulthood. And that feeding mechanism for adult bowlers is what the proprietors need, because years ago they got away from it. They tried to promote the recreational aspect of bowling and not only the competition aspect of it. And so fewer people bowl leagues and more people started bowling socially or open play or recreational type bowling. And it hurt them. And now it's hard to go back and get a new mechanism. So we got away from working and promoting the kids. The industry has to get back to it, and it's got to start with the proprietors themselves. First of all, the proprietors need to get into the schools. They need to get people on their staff that can get out of the centers and into the schools to get the kids and put organized programs together, get a procedure, put a business plan together, and present to the schools reasons why the youth bowlers could, there's fun involved and the social advantages of bowling together in youth programs in local bowling centers. And exactly what it's going to cost and exactly what they're going to be doing, all those things should be communicated at youth gatherings at the schools themselves. And so, you have to entice the kids to come so they tell their friends and their peers about how much fun they're having bowling, and invite the parents, get the adults involved too. If the proprietors are going to pitch the school kids on coming to bowl leagues and coming to bowl activities at their bowling centers, and get the parents involved too and the adults involved. So everybody together kind of gets into a feeding frenzy and working together to help promote the sport with the kids. That's going to be the future. Now, we talked about this glow bowling and this rock and bowl stuff. Well, everybody thought that was going to be a fad 20 years ago. Well, guess what? It's not. It's here to stay. And we have to realize it and accept it. But there are other options to just the social bowling aspects of it for the kids, and that is the league play, the competitive part of it. And it's a lot of fun. There are great high school bowling league programs around the United States, and why more areas that do not have good high school programs do not take heed at some of the successful promotions around the country and try to follow the same path in promoting it to help the proprietors or the proprietors themselves taking the lead on this and finding out why some high school programs are stronger in certain areas of the country than in their own. That's going to be one of the things that's necessary to get the kids into the centers and the bowler retention, to keep the kids bowling. So I think the proprietor has got to be more proactive in their approach, not sit back and wait and open the doors and let people come in. The proprietors are really in two different types. We have the sole proprietor, the people that run their own business and manage it themselves or are very active in running their own center or centers. And then we have the corporate proprietors, the operations that are corporate owned, where there's many bowling centers. AMF in Brunswick, to name a couple of them, own many centers around the country. But they have these cookie cutter management philosophies, and if some bowling centers in a given area do not do well, maybe geographically where they're located or poor management, whatever it might be, they have to be supported by the centers doing better. So the centers doing better have their hands restricted, their budgets restricted, and how much they can advertise and promote. And I think the way that bowling is advertised to attract kids needs to be addressed and looked at too. So when's the last time you drove down and saw a bulletin board, a billboard somewhere on one of the streets in your city advertising bowling? When's the last time you heard it on the radio? A commercial talking about youth bowling programs and how much fun they can be and how good it is to help the kids get off the streets, what options that they have. So, when's the last time you saw, come on in and bowl for free? We got a kids day or a kids month, and we want to get them introduced into the sport. And all they have to do is listen to a little 15-minute presentation first about the leagues and the programs and the social activities at your center. That's what the proprietors need to do. They need to get more proactive. Now, I, for one, want to see the sport continue and grow. I don't want to see it go away. And the feeding mechanism for success is youth bowling. Anyway, you've heard my views on it. Hopefully you've got yours. You're welcome to type in some comments under the article at Bowlversity section of bowlingball.com. We thank you for taking time to listen.